Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In this post, I want to revisit the gyrocopter incident where the pilot landed the vehicle in the nation's capital in an attempt to deliver handwritten letters to the president and Congress about campaign finance reform. When this incident happened, it stood out to me right away that it was on April 15th, the anniversary date of the death of Lincoln, as well as the Titanic fully submerging, also it being tax day. And when I decoded the story, I saw it was heavy with 61. And all I could assert about at that time about 61, was its connection to Obama, who was born in 1961. Well, fast forward to now, the middle of June 2015, and we're seeing a church shooting which has sparked a debate about the Confederate flag flying in South Carolina, where it has flown since 1961, the same year Obama was born. And this debate is being sparked on the back of a church shooting. The word church has a simple English gematria of 61. The word God equals 61 in Jewish gematria, a number of significance. So from this incident right here with the gyrocopter, the pilot was 61 years old. Gyrocopter has a Pythagorean gematria of 61. Doug Hughes, the pilot, has gematria of 52, and with the S exception, 61. Again, Obama born in 61. Confederate flag debate, been in South Carolina since 61. Notice that this incident on April 15th came exactly 61 days after February 13th. And what February 13th is Lupercalia. It is the 44th day of the year, a festival that traces back to around the time of the assassination of Caesar, which happened in 44 BC. In Pythagorean gematria, Lupercalia equals 44, simple English 98. It's on the 44th day of the year. This year, all the major hoaxes have been synced up with Lupercalia. The Andreas Lubitz plane crash. Andreas Lubitz and Patrick Sonemeyer, AL and PS, the pilots, put those letters together. It equals Alps. A story about a plane being flown into the Alps by a suicidal pilot. That came 39 days after Lupercalia. 39, a very important number to the Zionists. Just did a post on Israel's Congress and the United States and the significance of 39 and 93. It will also play into this story when we talk about Titanic. Anyhow, this story we find comes 61 days after Lupercalia, all synced up with 61. The Philadelphia train crash came 88 days after Lupercalia. It was very much coded with 8s, also the number 98, which is connected to Lupercalia. This most recent church shooting comes 98 days before the Pope's visit. All these Lupercalia stories are also connected to the Pope's visit, September 23rd, the 266th day of the year. Pope Francis is the 266th Pope. And this church shooting coming 98 days before that visit, it was said that the shooter, initially when he was on the loose, was wearing Timberland boots. Timberland is just like Lupercalia, 44 the small way, 98 the big way. Lots of this coding and all the stories. In the Philadelphia train crash, 98 was heavily coded. The name Philadelphia comes from Revelation in the Bible, one of 7 churches relating to the synagogue of Satan, the false Jews who will rule in the end times, as it's stated. So it came 61 days after Lupercalia, this hoax all full of 61, and it comes 161 days before the Pope's visit. How about that? I'm sure you can see what's up with 161. Interesting number. So the thing about the Titanic, Truth Seeker, if you're not aware, is that before it happened, 14 years in history, in the year 1898, there's that 98 again, it was written about in a fiction novel called Futility Wreck of the Titan, which was written by somebody named Morgan Robertson. It was written 14 years before the Titanic actually sunk on an iceberg. This book, Futility Wreck of the Titan, is about the largest ship ever built, thought to be unsinkable, sinking on an iceberg on its first voyage. Think about that. Written 14 years before it happened to the Titanic. If you've never seen the conspiracy videos on the Titanic, please watch them. Lots of fascinating information. Many of the world's richest men supposedly died on that boat when it sank. J.P. Morgan supposedly could have been on the boat himself but got off at the last minute due to illness. With regards to 14 years, think about September 11th, 2001, and this coming September, 14 years later. The words dead and end have gematria of 14. I've thought this nation was heading for a dead end since September 11th, 2001 as an 18-year-old. I thought I need to get the hell out of this country, but I haven't left because all my family and friends are here, and they're all still content on the boat, if you know what I mean. I've never been content on this boat. Everywhere I go, I've been telling the passengers, you better wake up, we're heading somewhere not good. Now look at us in 2015. The news has never been more absurd. Stories of gyrocopters. Ha! Hoax-alicious. Look at this gematria of September, Truth Seeker. We're talking about the Pope's September visit. 49 connection. Twin Towers were approved by the 49th Governor, Nelson Rockefeller. Twin Towers have a gematria of 49. Iceberg even sums to 49. They got to get 49 in their big hoaxes. Why? Because Revelation equals 49. And this nation is a recreation of Revelation. That's why the original capital, Philadelphia, borrows its name from the Bible and Revelation. Read Revelation. It's 7 this, 4 that. 7 this, 4 that. This nation's birthday, 7-4, July 4th. Please see my video on the word God and the coding within it. Very fascinating stuff. Your mind will be forever better off. The World Trade Centers were approved by David Rockefeller, proposed by David Rockefeller, approved by 49th Governor Nelson Rockefeller. The name Rockefeller has a simple English gematria of 110. Those buildings were 110 stories tall. It was a Titanic lie that day, and I have a feeling that the story of the Titanic, which we're all bombarded with as children, you know what they teach us about when we're kids, the alphabetic order, the Titanic, dinosaurs, all the stuff we get as kids. What I want to point out now about Titanic is from Titan, what the story's about, to Titanic, you add an IC. I's the 9th letter, C the 3rd. IC 93. Thelema, this occult religion, worships 93. Saturn sums to 93. They worship Saturn. It's connected to Thelema. United States of America has a gematria of 93. The year of establishment, 1776, has a numerology of 93. The word propaganda has a simple English gematria of 93. Thelema is about do what thou wilt. Think about lying through propaganda for an agenda. Is that not do what thou wilt? Throughout history, very many important people have had name gematria of 93. Right here, I picked on black people, you could say. It's not just black people. So many important people in this nation have had gematria of 93, including Michael Anthony Nutter, the current mayor of Philadelphia, the 98th mayor, overseeing the Philadelphia train crash hoax of May 12th, also synced up with this numerology as mentioned. These numbers 93 are no joke, Truth Seeker. Not only are they coded on people into the beginning of this nation, they're coded into the 11th state, possibly the most important state in the nation, New York. Everything in New York is 39 or 93. Empire State, Pythagorean gematria of 39. New York, Pythagorean, 39. NY, the abbreviation, simple English, 39. If you want to know how to gematria, Truth Seeker, just go to your search and type in how to gematria. My video will pop right up. 30 minutes of knowledge you can use for the rest of your life. New York state of establishment, 39. Whole lot more than that to New York, but that's enough for this post. UN in New York is 39 floors tall. Sorry. We were saying the UN is 39 floors tall. On 9/11, it was plane 11 that hit floors 93 through 99, the first plane to crash. Think about that, plane 11 in the 11th state. The World Trade Centers were giant standing 11s in the New York City skyline. On that day, we had Flight 93 of 33 passengers crash. In history, there was the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Look this up, web search away. Vice magazine. Vice has a gematria of 39. There's an article after the 93 World Trade Center bombing asking the reading audience to foreshadow or imagine planes being flown into the World Trade Centers and them causing the towers to crash to the ground. This was written about after the 93 World Trade Center bombing. The illustration is Beavis and Butthead with turbans around their heads, flying planes into the World Trade Center buildings. No joke. The new building there is called One World Trade Center, 93 Gematria, just like the New York Times, the biggest propaganda paper in the nation. Remember, propaganda is 93, like the New York Times. The book was released January 1st, 1898. Date with interesting numerology, 118. James Madison was fascinated with the numbers 39 and 118 himself. No doubt there's a connection there to the crash of the Titanic and its foreshadowing through popular fiction. In past posts, I've talked about how movies such as and books such as The Lord of the Rings foreshadowed September 11th. The Two Towers was once released on November 11th after World War II, the second book. 11 has a numerology of 2. The author of the book, Futility Wreck of the Titan, was named Morgan Robertson, supposedly. Gematria of 77, like Judaism. The American meridian's the 77th meridian, cutting through Washington, D.C., where Flight 77 hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon on September 11th. 555 days later, the Iraq War began. Think about that. 555 days later, the Washington Monument's 555 feet tall. The nation's War Department is 5-sided, 5-acre court in the middle with 5 floors above ground. Numerologists giving themselves away with their numbers once you can decipher them. So, Titanic. After this incident, what happened? The Federal Reserve was established a year later. After some of the world's biggest, wealthiest industrialists who were opposed to this central bank were wiped out, we get a Federal Reserve. And the next thing you know, we're in World War I. And then next thing you know, the nation's never the same. Before that even, though, there was the assassination of Lincoln on April 15th, 65. Lincoln central in the Civil War. The Separatists versus the Federalists. Lincoln died 4/15/65 in Ford's Theater, which Obama reopened February 11th, 2009, the 42nd day of the year. Lincoln dies on this date in the same location with the 84 numerology. Obama's birthday is August 4th. Last year on his birthday, the 9th of Av, the Jewish high holy day of tragedy, remembering the destruction of their temples. James Brady was assassinated, shot and killed. A man known for saving President Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan. What a hoax. The 33rd governor of California, former actor. Anyway, with 84, Obama in Jewish Gematria sums to 84. United States of America, Pythagorean Gematria 84. Think about George Orwell's book, 1984. It's about a nation a lot like ours. Obama has connections to the land of Lincoln, Illinois. Again, Lincoln died in a Baptist church turned to a theater, Ford's Theater. Built in 1833, Baptist, that 33 Gematria. So often we find 33 coded on these major hoaxes, these major assassinations. The last president to die in office died on 11/22. Numerology of 33, 11 plus 22. First day is Sagittarius. Up here on the screen, the Gematria of Ronald Reagan, Truth Seeker. The last president to be shot but not die, Ronald Reagan. Gematria of 110, just like the word president. I highly suspect when he was shot it was fake. And again, Truth Seeker, it's Freemasons behind all this coding, behind all this organizing, behind all this hoaxing. Freemasons, Simple English Gematria 96, just like the full date numerology of the JFK assassination. JFK was shot from 411 Elm Street, 411. Look at the word assassin in Jewish Gematria, 411. Shot by Oswald, Gematria of 74, a number we find coded so much. Take that date a step further, the date of the JFK assassination, we get a numerology of 115, like Freemasons, plural, and like killing in Jewish Gematria. Again, We were talking about the gyrocopter and how it happened on April 15th, date connected to Lincoln and the Titanic. I just want to show you something, Truth Seeker. If you don't think this is pointing to Obama, look at the gematria of gyrocopter, simple English, and, excuse me, I want to show you President Obama. President Obama, a lot like gyrocopter. A lot like the way they religiously code. One of the headlines at that time was "Message Delivered." Now, Truth Seeker, if you're still doubting this, let me take you to the year 63, which was 52 years ago. In that year, we had a Pennsylvania train crash, a Southern black church bombing, and then the assassination of JFK late in the year. This year, we've had a Pennsylvania train crash in Philadelphia, a Southern black church terrorist incident. This one was credited to the KKK. This one is charged to a 21-year-old white supremacist. The only thing missing to complete the trifecta is a presidential assassination. And there's a lot of things foreshadowing something big on September 23rd, 2015, a date with 47 numerology. The word president equals 47. Something big is coming. All these coded incidents hooking up. The Pennsylvania train crash connects to this year's Philadelphia train crash. The 63 church bombing connects to this year's church bombing. I've done videos showing all the synchronicities. Please take the time to check them out. It's a lot of information. I don't want to be redundant and confuse, but the videos are there if you want the knowledge. In 2007, CBS News released a report on how JFK was nearly assassinated in Chicago. At the time, they said it was a 44-year special. Remember, Obama's the 44th president hailing from Chicago? This story was on the 44-year anniversary, saying that JFK was nearly assassinated in Chicago, a hint. With regards to all that, 49 as well, JFK died in Dallas. Dallas has a gematria of 49, Truth Seeker. We were talking about how September has all the 49 connections. Revelation. Again, we're looking at 52 years ago. 52 is an important number this year, seemingly because of the Pope's visit, Pope having a gematria of 52. Please watch my videos on the Philadelphia train crash if you have not seen them. Lots of information worth your time. With regards to this 63 train crash, I was reading the article. The man interviewed is Russell Baker, who was nearly killed supposedly in 63 by the train crash. Notice his name gematria, 44 Pythagorean. And they interviewed him in 2013 at the age of 84 about it. This number connected to Obama and the nation. It happened at Brantsville Station, which has this gematria of 74, a number we always find around the tragedies. The recent church shooting is all coded with 74. The World Trade Centers are on the 74th meridian. The shooter was recently arrested on Route 74. Back then it was Route 74 as well, too, Truth Seeker, with this 63 train crash. Isn't that something? It happened on a date with 114 numerology. We're currently in the 114th Congress, which is led by John Boehner, who has a gematria of 114. The synchronicities, the patterns, the planning, the redundancy. That's what we're exposing here. If you look at this information with open eyes, it becomes very hard to deny. Yet so many people will deny it. Cognitive dissonance. But it's too late for cognitive dissonance for those of us who are awake. You know? Something needs to be done. We're being led off a cliff. We're going someplace worse than we already are. That's a place we don't want to be. Truth Seeker, please share this video. Please spread this knowledge. If people make fun of you, that's not your fault. We need to find all the people who can awake that aren't awake yet. For all the people who come here and ridicule me, many people have left messages that they've woken up because of these videos. They've shown them to other people who have woken up. This is important information. There's a lot of truth channels out there, but I don't think anyone's putting out as much important information that can be used. You know, I'm teaching a skill. In the Bible, there's the story about how Jesus teaches people to fish so they can go out and replicate the skill. It's the same lesson here, Truth Seeker. This is a real skill that you can use, that you can teach and inform other people. People who doubt, you just have to move past them. There's other people who deserve this knowledge who can be awoken. Something bad is coming, and it's coming quick. The reason I'm doing these videos is because I don't want to live to see the day where it's too late and I have to tell myself I didn't do enough. And I don't think a lot of you want that day either. But it'll come if we're forever silent. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.